live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is the STSPOD.club production, and this is DYN-O-MITE. How y'all guys doing tonight?
Excellent.
And Codyverse.
Excellent. I am the coiner of the term Codyverse. Thank you. Let the record reflect.
I'm going to introduce both of you guys. Number one, we have Lance. That's right, Lance Levine.
That's
the
it?
Shark of Excellence.
Oh,
my partner in crime. He, you know what he does? He tweets every stray thought that floats between his ears.
Yep.
He eats hash browns as a meal, not a side. I think I already used that joke once.
Yeah.
And he's from Chicago, the home of the WNBA champions, Chicago Sky. Oh, yeah.
Woo.
Yes. Who got that for you?
That is from my BFF, John Henriksen. He gave it to me for Christmas.
He had some stuff for you.
Yep.
Awesome. You got to hang it up. Chicago Sky, baby.
I can hang it on Elvis over here. I'll put it on Elvis. So it'll always be on the show.
So Eric doesn't know this, but when he won the actual contest, he also won an introduction by Memphis Wrestling announcer T-Bone, Terrence Ward.
T-Bone.
And we had him do that for you. So here you go.
Welcome to the show tonight. He has the biggest brain in Illinois. He's quadruple vaxxed. He trademarked Codyverse, and he can't decide if Hangman or Ibushi is his Valentine. He is Eric!
Classic.
There you go,
Classic.
Eric. I'll send that to you so you can have that. Eric actually won 2 videos, one with Dustin and then that one. But Terrence did a real good job with that. I sent him that picture. I didn't know what he was going to do with it. I was glad he didn't do anything vulgar, you know. We're going to have a story on Patreon. It took me forever to watch the pay-per-view. We'll talk about that.
It has nothing to do with being in Arkansas, does it?
No, I have nothing to do with
nothing
the
to do with being in
squirrels
the
or
South.
anything.
Okay.
So we are.
Shout out to Jamie Ward.
We are doing it on Tuesday night, doing the Dynamite on Tuesday night, and then I might be doing it. Oh yeah, shout out to the wife. And then we're
off
put it out
the
tonight
rails, off the
before
rails
midnight, and so that you can watch it before it starts. The show starts tomorrow. Dynamite starts tomorrow. So what we do is hits, misses, MVP. What do you look forward to on Dynamite coming up? And also, as we do on Rolling On into Mempo, we do must see, because I notice Eric and Lance and we never say thumbs down to these pay-per-views. So why even be stupid and try to thumbs up or thumbs down? So a must see, kind of like our favorite thing on the pay-per-view. We're going to start with Lance. Lance, what's your hits?
I took this idea from Richard Mulligan of P3 Radio. I have a list. So of the best things, the hits of Revolution, one of the best pay-per-views overall, I think, that we've ever seen. Let's see. We had a 4-star match in the prelim. In the buy-in, we had a 4-star match. Unbelievable. So that was definitely a hit. State-of-the-art Bucks match. I got to say that. Punk's ROH intro. Buckets of blood all night long. Sting with the table dive off the balcony was amazing. But I got to say, overall, my theme of the night for the best thing about that card was the drama, just the word drama. You had the Kingston and Jericho drama in that match. You had the main event. Shout out to Eric Kroll for Hangman, and the Adams match was just drama. So many ups and downs and so many different twists and turns. The chain match, the slow burn drama of that. So for me, the highlight of the night and the theme of the night for me was just the drama of the entire card, up and down the card. Just so many elements of drama. So Eric, what about you, my friend? I know the drama was in the main event for you.
I think you've earned yourself a new nickname, Drama King Lance Levine.
Did he say drama? I think he said drama. Okay,
that's right.
So to me, I'm in the same place as Lance. To me, it's the loaded card. I think you had 8 matches out of 12 that are probably going to get 4 stars or higher in the Observer. The 4 men's matches all delivered. MJF, Punk, Jericho, Kingston, Moxley Danielson and the Battle of the Atoms in the main event. But then the tag match 3-way, the pre-show 6-man, that crazy 6-man tag that was in the semi-main position, even if it wasn't the semi-main event. It was supposed to be this palate cleanser for everybody to catch their breath, and no, they went balls out. They went nuts, and it was crazy. And then even the ladder match. That's probably one of my out of those 8. That's my least star rated match right there. I mean, I that maybe that barely squeaks in at 4 stars, and it wasn't bad. So yeah, the hits are I think the Observer gave Full Gear like 9, maybe all 9 matches got 4 stars or higher. I thought this was a better card top to bottom than Full Gear, which was great. I'd put the AEW pay-per-views, I'd put this one second, All Out. Lance and I were there in September of 2021. I'd put that first and Full Gear third. And but really, it's 1A, 1B, and 1C when you think about it. What were your hits, BT?
I went, buy-in. I thought the buy-in was probably the best buy-in we've ever had. I mean, I watched it because I wasn't going to be able to watch the pay-per-view live, and I was like, man, I had a really good time with the buy-in. Kingston win, and he said, I think Lance said something about drama. The Kingston win meant something. You just don't get stuff like that. With WWE, you felt like, oh my God, he just beat Jericho. Love the triple threat tag team. My favorite match. It is a perfect example of what this style is. This is a lucha, ROH hybrid of style that these guys do. Just an excellent match. Loved Steven Regal coming out at the end. Some drama there. Loved it. And Lance, he's going to die when I say this because I give him hell about this guy all the time. But man, Swerve coming out. I thought that intro was awesome. This guy's on TV and he's already first time he's having everybody shout his catchphrase and his name and stuff.
Yeah.
And that it just oozed charisma. Lance has said about this guy all the time. I liked him in Lucha Underground. Underground. I almost said Underground. Lucha Underground. That's another promotion he worked in. But I never liked him at NXT. I didn't like the group. But man, I am a Swerve fan now. All right, that was my hit.
Wait, before we go to the misses, I want to ask both you guys, since you brought it up, BT. All right. I mean, I'm probably going to be in the minority on this, but why is Steven Regal such a big deal? Like, I don't get why that was such a big thing.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
He's the commissioner of NXT when it was at its most popular, right? And everybody loved it.
And?
So, I mean, the AEW crowd was the old NXT crowd. I mean, that was a fly-in. It's the hardcores, right?
I think
I've never understood why he's such a big deal. He was a boring wrestler. BT, you and I watched some of those old pay-per-views.
I've said that before.
Boring as hell in the ring, but they love him like he's a big folk hero. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So
I loved
that match was great, and the ending, the execution of the match, everything about that match was great. But then everybody lost their minds for Regal coming out. I'm like,
the live crowds tend to pop for news, right? And that was news, right?
Yeah.
Look how special we are. We are getting this news. The same could be said for Swerve. I was in Minneapolis for Full Gear, and the crowd went nuts for Jay Lethal, and I'm sitting there like, Jay Lethal, who gives a crap? And Swerve got a way bigger reaction than Jay Lethal did.
Reaction compared
to
Jay Lethal.
Again, when Chavo Guerrero came out as Andrade's manager, he got a babyface pop too. The crowds just love the news.
Mr. Andre.
Yeah. So shall we do the misses?
Yeah, go for it, Lance.
All right. So first off, there's not very many misses, as Eric mentioned. This being one of the best cards of all time and one of the best AEW cards. Not too many misses. Alex Abrahante's costume. What the fuck is that?
Oh, so my God. It
looks so stupid. I love Eddie Kingston, but that fucking pot belly, I never need to see that pot belly again. Don't ever take down the single.
I don't need to see me wrestle.
Ty's face paint. What is the obsession with Ty Conti on the pay-per-views having to have like all kinds of bullshit on her face? She's beautiful. Leave it alone. But my number one miss was that weird fucking crowd. They were so inconsistent. First off, early in the card, I don't even know who it was, but you got a baby face in a submission hold, and they're chanting tap, tap, tap. I'm like, shut up, you fucking idiots. It's the baby face that's in the hold. But they were just so inconsistent all night long. They were so quiet. Whenever there was blood, we noticed that in the thread that night. Whenever there was massive amounts of blood in the match, they would get so quiet, like they were grossed out or they didn't know how to react or whatever. They would pop explosively during like the intros and stuff, and then you'd hear a pin drop during some of the matches. And I'm like, these are some 4-star matches. Why the fuck aren't you people popping? So the worst thing about the night for me was the inconsistency of that goofy crowd in Orlando.
And they were so hot for leading. I'm sorry.
For certain things.
For the buy-in, yeah. For the buy-in, they was hot for it. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry about that, Eric. You're miserable.
Throwing it to you, Cody.
To add on to Lance's correct point about the crowd, in the main event, they decided to go into business for themselves and amuse themselves with "Let's go, Adam."
Let's go, Adam. Adam sucks. Let's go, Adam. Adam sucks.
Just don't. Just like in the 90s, everybody tried to get themselves over as a crowd member by bringing signs, and you couldn't see the damn action. That's the thing nowadays, is the chance for the crowd to get itself over at the expense of the action. For me, the 3 women's matches were kind of meh overall. That was a miss. I saw somebody opine that Thunder Rosa, you could tell she wasn't winning because she came out with a little bit of boo-boo face, kind of uninspired. I was irritated that she didn't win. I kind of figured it wasn't going to happen after she got the pin on the previous Dynamite. But then it occurred to me, they're going to be in San Antonio, her hometown, in 2 weeks, and so they're clearly setting her up on Dynamite to win this week, so she becomes the number 1 contender again.
Question, Eric. Eric's getting ahead on the questions, not following the format.
Not following the format.
So, it was a miss for me, but then I realized, there was a booking reason. They're just delaying the title switch for 2 weeks. Tay Conti went into the makeup chair and said, "Give me the Malachi Black special." And then she's doing some of the same mannerisms as her boyfriend, Sammy Guevara. And it's like, the copying the crazy stuff and, some of his top rope moves. And it's like, just, be your own person. In the opener with Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander, it just wasn't very crisp. They tried hard, but
they did. It was fun.
Execution.
Layla
my
needs
biggest
a lot more seasoning. Layla.
Yeah, but they have to give the midgets some work, so I'm excited. I'm excited.
Got no
her.
business being on a pay-per-view, even a buy-in.
The biggest miss for me, though, was good old JR. He's so cranky and bitter and hates this product. And earlier in the show, he said something about Excalibur was calling some complex move, and JR pops off with are we also going to hear about a Tiger Driver 98? I mean, just
shut up,
quit being such a prick.
Yeah.
And then later on in the show, somebody hit a Liger bomb that Excalibur correctly called, and Jim Ross got all snarky and said, "What's the difference between a Liger bomb and a regular power bomb?" And Excalibur proceeded to explain it, and even JR to say, "Oh, that's a good point," right? But just go retire already. Enjoy the rest of your life. You're not helping. You're detracting. It's just he's the turd in the punch bowl in what's otherwise a really, really pretty good product that their fan base loves. BT, your misses.
Man, I'm right in there with y'all guys, but I'm going to talk about Britt and Rosa was a shit match, guys. I'm going to tell you, wrong part of the card, no psychology. They were just trying to get their shit in. I thought the moves were sloppy, and then all of a sudden we went to the New Japan interference. I actually went back and watched that match because I figured maybe I was wrong because I was tired or something. No, it was horrible. I think one thing is because of where it was put, and then it was like instead of just slowing down a little bit, they wanted to speed it up because they tried to keep the crowd going, and there was no way they were going to do it. Did not like that match. It was my least favorite match. I actually liked first. I think I liked the first match. I think I gave it more ratings than Rosa and Baker. Jim Ross, super bad parody of himself. Yep. Sometimes you'll watch Saturday Night Live, guys, and there's a bad impression of someone. That's him. That's him. He is his bad impression. Taking too much time is one of his favorite phrases. and he doesn't understand the psychology and there's stuff that they do between the moves. I'm so sick of him trying to make the wrestlers look stupid. By them, they're taking some time to build for the next move, and he keeps saying, "Go cover him, go do this." Sting, by the way, guys, he's north of 60. Why did he have to tell us Sting's age? And I'll get the same thing that I wrote down. He didn't even know what a fucking Liger bomb was and trying to be a smartass to Excalibur, and Excalibur knows. Why is it Jim acts like he's mad at Excalibur because Excalibur knows all the moves?
Right.
It's like, oh, no one's supposed to know that. And my final miss is why does Sammy have 2 fucking belts? I want to know that.
Yeah.
Why does he have 2?
He's got that interim belt. It's very important, you know.
All right.
But aren't they literally the same belt?
No, they're 2 different belts. They look different. They're different styles. But that
you're
interim
sure?
belt was
They
in
look
play.
the same.
That interim belt was literally in play for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before he got it back again. So it was dumb. The whole thing was dumb. And now bringing it out, you're right. Bringing it out every show is like rubbing it in our faces how dumb that whole thing was.
I blame the Cody verse for that.
I got to disagree with you on that. I
don't care.
Rosa and
Go
Britt.
watch it again. It sucks. I'm sorry. It sucks.
There's no way that opening match with
it was better because it
Layla
had a
and Stat
midget in
better
it.
than
It had
that.
a midget
No
in it. You
way.
know my rules. You know
I
my
will.
rules.
I will say it suffered from the fact that it was after the chain match because
yes,
the crowd was totally spent after that. But I don't think it was that bad. No way was it as bad as that opening match.
Yeah,
So,
I think the House of Torture looked at the interference in that match and said, maybe a little too excessive there, guys.
Oh, man.
The funny thing when you talk about JR, and I'm on board because JR, my all-time favorite announcer for sure, but now just a shell of himself and a parody of himself, like you said, BT. But the line that always cracks me up is when he says Bryce Remsburg, if that is your real name. He says that every damn time.
Not even funny.
It's not even funny, but B, I'm like, wait, shouldn't you be saying that line about Excalibur if that is your real name? I'm like,
he was doing
that's
something
the no-brainer.
About Ricky Starks too. What was he called? Ricky Starks or something like that. I was like, what are you doing? It doesn't even make any sense. Yeah. All right, who's your MVP, man?
Making fun of Taz's accent. So MVP. So you could go a number. Obviously, we can all go a number of different ways here. You got Punk. Honestly, I have Rosa on my list. I know you're going to disagree with that. And I have Sting on my list too for just doing that dive. But I gotta say, I'm going to go a totally different route that I'm guessing neither one of you guys are going to go with this. My MVP is Tony Khan for giving us this card, for assembling this card, for giving us a night of essentially almost all dream matches and just building it up the way they did and pulling it off and delivering. Whatever it costs, $50 for the pay-per-view, delivering where you're never going to come back from one of these pay-per-views and say, I feel ripped off. I didn't get my money's worth. No way. All of these cards, like Eric mentioned before, so many of these cards have been some of the best. Like I always say, they top themselves with every pay-per-view. Every pay-per-view seems to be better than the last one. And I will disagree with you, Eric. This was not the best one. I had my average scores because some of those buy-in matches were so bad. I have a 3.48 for this one. I had Full Gear still at 4.17. So last fall's Full Gear at 4.17 remains my best. So, but my MVP is Tony Khan. We call him TK on the show.
I was fixing to say, I didn't even know who you were talking about there.
Yeah.
For a few minutes.
So
Tony fears Nick is what I hear. So
the rumors are true. Lance did apply for a job at AEW.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
In catering, while I was in catering last time.
Yeah. So I have my MVP is Punk. He was, part of the, a generational feud, right? I mean, it's going to be one it's feud of the year. I think Lance said that maybe in the chat on while we were watching it, and he came out to his old ROH music and his old ROH gear, which adds to things. It was just the whole feud was one for the ages. The match was great. The double juice.
Bled buckets too.
Yeah, I think it seems like CM Punk he's like Dusty Rhodes in that he just sort of scritches up his forehead and blood just starts coming out of him. It's crazy. My runners up were, of course, Hangman Adam Page,
of course,
heart emojis, who is just fantastic, and He wore in Florida, as they're trying to pass some anti-gay legislation, he wore his ring jacket was made a political statement with it, supporting.
Is he trying to say he is a gay? Is that what he's trying to do?
He is saying he's against the. He's against
a gay.
He supports
supporter.
The community.
Oh, okay.
He is against the "Don't Say Gay" bill in Florida. Is what his statement was. He was being an ally. And the other runner-up would be Wardlow, because he won the ladder match and he provided the key interference in the match that allowed Punk to win. So he did double duty. He was involved in two big angles. So I'm not talking work rate. I'm just saying involvement in the show. BT, your MVP is not JR.
No, not at all. Retired JR.
LVP. His LVP is.
It makes me want to cuss. Son of a bitch. MVP is Sting. I know y'all guys don't know this, but he's north of 60.
Yeah,
he's north of 60. I got to give it to this guy, because if Jim Ross wasn't reminding us every fucking time, he looks like Sting. He puts the makeup on and he's Sting of old. He's still that guy. Same thing with Liger. I always used to make a joke about Liger looking at Liger and saying, he hasn't aced at all. He wore a mask. Get it?
Got it.
But it's the same thing with Sting. You can't really tell he's aged. He's having fun, and he's also getting over it. Hey, to me, Darby Allin feels like an upper-level superstar, and it's because one of the reasons he works so fucking hard. But the other thing is, I think it's because he's with Sting, and Sting could just sit there and get the hot tag, but he doesn't do that. Like he said, he jumped off. When he did that, I was just like, did they have somebody else? I was like, did they have somebody in the crowd or something?
Was that the fake Sting from back in the day?
Yeah, it was the fake Sting. But yeah, Sting is my MVP. So good show. Everybody worked really hard. So
Eric, you mentioned the order of the matches, but if you notice, Sting is always in the semi-main. It seems like it's in every card. Sting is in the next to last match. So regardless of what you thought should be there and how we talked about how Tony was going to have such a hard time putting this card together as far as match order, Sting is always next to last semi-main event. It seems like it's in his contract or something, maybe.
And what do you want to see on tomorrow's Dynamite? Talk about tomorrow's Dynamite.
Couple things. I know we've talked about this in the group. What's next for Paige? Who's the next contender? Because
put over the group. Tell everybody how to go to the group.
Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk on Facebook. You got to apply to get in. You answer a couple questions, and if we like you, we'll put you in. If we don't, we'll kick you out. So, Eric's on the verge. Eric's always on the ropes. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So, in the group, we were doing a live thread that night, and we were talking who's next for Paige, who's next for Hangman, because MJF lost. I don't know, Punk. I mean, who knows what direction that's going to go. So who's the next feud for Paige? So I'm really curious to see what direction they go with him. And also, what are they going to do with Swerve? You mentioned Swerve and how all of a sudden you're jumping on my bandwagon, BT, that you're a Swerve fan.
He's got
so I'm looking forward to that. Guy is such a hard worker. He's been good in everything that I've seen him in. There was some good stuff in NXT. You didn't like the character or whatever, but there was some good matches in NXT. And obviously he was amazing in Lucha Underground. So, and my biggest thing is if Swerve will bring B-Fab with him, because that will make my day if B-Fab comes and joins AEW. So I'm looking forward to Swerve and looking forward to seeing what the next things are for Hangman. Eric, what about you? I know you're next looking forward to Hangman on your TV and his gay apparel.
Yeah, do they go to Punk and Paige next, right? So they've got
Brian.
Punk and Bryan Danielson? I suppose.
No, Brian and Paige, but I doubt it because Brian's going to be working with Moxley doing tags.
Right. So, I mean, in theory, the MJF Punk thing could have been a number one contenders match if they wanted it to be. They've got 12 weeks of TV of Dynamites, which is a long time before the next show, Double or Nothing in Vegas at the end of May. And so in between, there's a Battle of the Belts in April. Sometime mid-April, maybe. That's sort of the halfway, maybe it's the halfway point, not even the halfway point, where you can. So if you wanted to have an interim sort of feud for Hangman Page coming out of this as champ, you could Miro, bring him back for a program. But Punk versus Page at the pay-per-view would be a face versus face thing, and once again, Hangman Page would be overshadowed by an opponent who is who much like Bryan Danielson was his superior in terms of fan reaction and skills and pro mobility. I really want to see the Wardlow MJF follow up. So we've been waiting 2 or 3 years for this turn, almost since AEW started, and they finally paid it off when Wardlow left the ring for Punk to use and win the match. So MJF has to be aware of this. What does he do? Does he say, you're going to win that title? Does he hold, I know he let him off the hook last week, but he's like, Wardlow, you got to win that TNT belt, and you're going to give me that belt once you do. Or do they just start feuding right away? It doesn't seem like you could wait for the next pay-per-view for that. I mean, that thing is ripe, but we've been saying that for 2 years. So who knows? BT, what are you looking forard to? Probably that Scorpio Sky title match. Right?
Yes, very much. You knew that. I'm a huge Scorpio Sky fan, and we've only seen him like twice on Dynamite. Did I read that right? In the whole year after he won that last year at this time on Revolution, him and Sammy should have a hell of a match, guys. I don't see him changing the title. I really see Wardlow probably winning the belt. And Jericho, I love Jericho not shaking his hand. Leaving that question of what the hell are we going to do on Dynamite, or is he going to be? So they're promoting Jericho addresses Eddie Kingston. And what I'm not looking forward to is Hurst against Rosa. I'm a huge Rosa fan, but to me, if they don't put Rosa over on this one,
big time.
It's going to be it. But, I do like, I'll say this a third time, and y'all need to put it over this time. No. I do like the midgets. I really do. So. All right, must see. Tell me what your must see is, Lance.
Little people. How dare you? Don't get us canceled. Come on,
she's from Russia too.
So a little American, little Russian. So all right, must see. All right, so I know what my partner in crime over on the other side is going to say is must see about this card, and he will be correct because it is the highest rated match that I gave of the night. I gave the main event 5.5 stars. I know BT is against progress and doesn't like change, so he doesn't want to hear me say 5.5 stars for the Adams match. But my must.
All right, yay, yeah. You did what now? It was how many? Oh, my bad. I played a joke twice. Man.
Well, the one was on the pre-show, so they didn't see it.
Oh yeah.
So my must see, despite the fact I love the main event. My must-see is the tag match that you referenced earlier, the Young Bucks, Red Dragon, and Jurassic Park or Jurassic Express or whatever you call them. That, to me, state-of-the-art tag match, just everything, like you mentioned, nonstop action, just straight through, never a dull moment, never a break, never a breather. I love that match. I gave that one 5.25. I know you're not going to want to hear that either, but despite the fact that the Page match was slightly better in the star ratings, I love that tag match and just what those guys did. Second must-see for me is Jade Cargill's gear for the night. So you got to tune in for that, too. It was from the J-Lo collection. So anyway, Eric, what is your must-see, as if we don't know?
She had green hair and green gear.
Jade, she was color coordinated, like money. Yeah. She's like money, green.
Yep. I am going to do a swerve here.
No way!
My must-see match was Punk versus MJF.
Woo!
It capped one of the greatest feuds of all time, maybe the greatest modern feud. And it's blood, it's a dog collar, it's history. It's a payoff to this series of great promos and a match that Lance and I were fortunate enough to be at the Thanksgiving Eve Dynamite, where they did that first dueling promo that had everybody's tongue wagging. For 20 minutes. And then 10 weeks later, we got to see the first match, which went almost 40 minutes, and MJF beat him twice. And, you should go see that match, watch it again. I plan to watch it again this week. Even if the crowd was goofy and weird and afraid of blood or only popping for the big high spots during the match, still, that's the one. BT, I assume yours is that first pre-show match.
He actually said hard spots. That's what happens when you're watching a Bushi.
No,
hard spots was the main event.
Man, God. I'm going to go with 3 matches.
The hook match.
Yeah. Let's go with 3 matches, guys, because I want to tell you, this was one of those top pay-per-views. I couldn't just go one match, so I went with the tag match, as Lance said. fantastic match. And like I said earlier, it's that style. If you don't like that style, don't criticize it. You don't understand it. It's totally different. It reminds me a lot of the first time I watched Lucha, and I said, they're all setting up for the moves. I don't like that. Guess what? That is the style. That's what they do. I love that match. Mox against Bryan, to me, you could put it in any – you could have put it in 1970. Mox has a 1970s dad bod. So we can put him, Daniel Bryan, any 70s, 80s, 90s, even 1930s. Lance, you think they could have been in the 1930s
Easily.
with our other superstars?
We could definitely have done that.
And third, Blood and Guts, chain match. Just, I want to say something, and I think it went, and I think maybe that was it. It felt like it was just a little too long, but I love the blood. I love the finish. I popped huge for the finish. I'm sitting here by myself late that night, and boom, there they went with the finish. So, yeah, must see. Those are the three matches. As I said, we changed it on Memphis Wrestling because we didn't do any thumbs down. And us three, the only time is when those other two guys were doing Dynamite with me. They would find something wrong and do thumbs down all the time.
The
we
ramp.
don't.
They criticized
the
ramp.
I love AW. The ramp does bother
Yeah,
me.
they didn't like the ramp. So,
all right, y'all guys want to add anything else?
Just like Eric mentioned early, there were 8 matches that were over 4 stars. And I honestly, Rosa and Britt, as much as you didn't like it, I had it just under 4. I really enjoyed that match. There was nothing to pick apart on that one, I thought.
You can go back and watch it.
There was the 2, I will. There was the 2 pre-show matches that sucked. And then there was that great 4-star match, the House of Black match. So just a great card top to bottom.
I gave the hook match 1.5 stars, but it was actually exactly what it should have been. I think I think he should have just tore QT to hell. That's the way they're pushing this guy. And instead of giving QT anything, that's the way I want to push Jay too. I just want to push her where she just kills the person, but I know they're wanting her to get better. So
that frog splash she did was amazing for a girl that big. For a girl that big, the match, say what you will about the match. People were saying, it was the worst match of the night. What did you expect when you see that card and that stacked lineup? What did you expect that match to be? It was fine. It was watchable. I gave it 2.5, but that frog splash she did, and she's coming along too. And to your point, I actually gave the hook match a better grade. I gave it 2.25. I don't have anything against that kid. I just hate him being shoved down our throats.
So I was with the full card, I was at 3.6, and with just the main card, 4.0 for everything. So you can't beat that. I mean, it's well worth the $50.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we will be doing. What will we be doing this week?
Patreon.
Hell, I don't know. You never know.
Patreon right now.
Patreon right now when we get done here, and then we're going to tell the story of how I bought the pay-per-view. And I got a few other things I want to share with Eric and Lance. So $5, guys, $5. Same bad time, same bad channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, this is the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Oh, wait. And I love my mama. You listening, mama? I love you.
And I have fun everywhere I go, and I don't know about Eric. Does he even have a catchphrase?
I'm the coiner of the term Codyverse. That's my new catchphrase. I finally have one.
Welcome to the show tonight. He has the biggest brain in Illinois. He's quadruple vaxxed. He trademarked Codyverse, and he can't decide if Hangman or Ibushi is his Valentine. He is